Hi all, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Let's start rebooting work using UiPath. In today's session, we are going to discuss about Orchestrator HTTP request. So basically, what actually this Orchestrator HTTP request means or how it works. So this Orchestrator HTTP request will allow you to push the data, get the data, delete, patch. So these are the operations which can be performed on Orchestrator with the help of Orchestrator HTTP request. This Orchestrator HTTP request will allow you to perform the below entity operations which we have highlighted over here. So which is nothing but folders to help you to get the folder, and you have to pushing some information to the folder. Assets, when I say assets, so you can create a asset, get data from the asset, which is already created in the Orchestrator queue item. So you can update the queue item details using this Orchestrator HTTP request, or delete the queue item. So various kind of operation which help you to perform with the help of this single activity, which is nothing but Orchestrator HTTP request. Also, UiPath has provided a wonderful documentation which help you to understand so how to use the activities actually. So let me go to that particular site. So this is a site, so which is nothing but UiPath connected guide, which help you to walk through how you have to use the orchestrator HTTP request. So what are the parameters you have to pass? What are the endpoint? So these are the things will be discussed over here. So you can see what are the relative endpoints can be specified in this particular activity. For each and everything will be a separate endpoint. So for folders, we'll be having a separate endpoint. So for starting a job, ending job, so those things will be having a separate endpoint. So based upon the endpoint, so which will perform the action which we asked for. So here you can see in folders, you can see something called as validation and type, get folders. When I come to start job, so you can see various kind of actions, right? So which is get folder, get environment. So modern folder, so we'll be having a similar kind of activities. So this is basically like we'll be having a difference between the classic folder and modern folder. Basically, we'll not able to create a subfolder in the classics where we are able to do in a modern. So this kind of a difference will be showcased over here actually. And then so when it comes to input parameters, so you can pass your input parameter, you can get the process status, what are the status of the particular process, and then so you can get your queue item details. You can directly add a queue item into the orchestrator with the help of this activity using this particular endpoint for the add queue items, and you can get the all items from the queue. So basically we'll be using an activities, right? So for this action, so we'll be using a plenty of activities which is queue items, and then you use to transactions for getting each and every transaction count. So we'll be using a n number of things, right? But when you're going to use this particular activity, you're going to use a single activity, and then based upon the filter, you're going to get your determined queue item and then IDs. So it will be very simple, right? Likewise, we have our assets, so which help you to create the asset, get asset, the same things actually. So all the operations can be performed with the help of this orchestrator HTTP request. So in our upcoming series, we are going to check one by one, so how actually everything works upon here, what are the endpoint need to be used, how to apply the filters over here. So those couple of things we are going to discuss in our upcoming sessions. In today's session, we can discuss about get folders. So with the help of this get folder endpoint, so whether we are able to get all the folders in the orchestrator, let's have a quickly check in our UiPath Studio. So already I have created a process which is nothing but orchestrator HTTP request. So I am going to drag and drop all the activities, and I'm going to perform all the actions now. So as a prerequisite, you have to install the UiPath.WebAPI.Activities so that you can able to decentralize and able to visualize what are the data has been captured with the API. Let me quickly jump back to the UiPath. So this is the activity which are discussed now. So let me drag and drop here. So once I have drag and drop, so I have to provide the inputs. So you can see here, right? So JSON payload, method, and relative endpoint. So this JSON payload will be used when you're going to filter a particular certain data. So during those times, you are going to apply an expression over here. So based upon the expression, you are going to get a certain amount of data. Okay, so we are not going to get the entire data. We are going to restrict the data, and you are going to find a restricted amount of data which is required for us. Okay, so basically this JSON payload can help you to filter out and find your particular data. Okay, and then method. So as I discussed over here, the methods will be a get method, post method, put method, and then patch, delete. So these are the operations which can be performed. So we are already discussed these things on our API playlist. And then so relative endpoint. So this is the relative endpoint which is provided by the UiPath documentation. Okay, so we are going to use this endpoint and then we are going to get each and every folders which is already in Orchestrator. So let me minimize all those so that it will avoid a confusion over here. Okay. Okay, perfect. So only I have enabled this get folder now. Okay. So what I'll be doing, I'll just copy from here. Okay, odata folder. So why I was not using this? Since I have connected my UiPath Studio already with the orchestrator, I no need to provide these things. Okay. So if you are going to use an other API activities, okay. So other API activities like Swagger else. So those times you have to provide your URL of the tenant, organization, and authentication. So these have to all the things you have to provide over here. So but when you are going to use your orchestrator HTTP request, already your UI path will be connected with the orchestrator, so that you no need to provide any of the other informations. So you can directly go ahead and copy from here. Okay. In our case, I have already connected my orchestrator with the UiPath Studio. So let me show that. So here you can see, right? So you can see a green symbol. So which means my UiPath Studio is already connected with the orchestrator. So what I'll be providing here, just go to the endpoint and double quotes, just try to provide this particular path. That's it. So once you have provided a path, so you have to create an output, right? So what actually we can do here, just go to the this and response, okay? Control K. Okay, I'll be making as get folder. Perfect. Click on OK. And then try to drag and drop a right line over here, okay? I'll just use this get folder. Okay, so now I'll be getting an output, but it will be not in a readable format. That's why I just told you to install this UiPath.WebAPI.Activities. Let me quickly save and run this and show you why I was saying it will be not in a readable format. Okay, I hope our execution is done. Let me go to the output panel. See, here you can see all the data, right? So, but it looks not a readable format, correct? Which I mean, so it's not a structured way. It will not help you to read what actually you're looking for, okay? So let me try to use decentralize, okay? Let me try to call the get folder over here, okay? Perfect. Once I call the get folder, what I'll be doing here, I'll just make a control key, J object. I'll be creating the output response for this. Click on OK. And then try to call in write line. So as you already know that, so it write line will be able to print only string. So let's make it convert into string dot to string. Perfect. Click on save, debug. So now it will be in a structured format. So it will help you to easily interpret and look for your data which is required on. Let me go to the output panel. Yeah. So here you can see so many data sets. So we have a data count of 4, which means 4 folders. Okay. So let me go to the orchestrator so that we can confirm your like whether how many folders we have. Okay. So we have 4 folders, right? So which is default, IT, Jai Vignesh, and then shared folder. So this workspace will not consider as a folder. So this is a kind of workspace which is allocated to us. Okay. So we have created only 4 folders, and then we are able to see those 4 folders in the output panel. Correct. So we can see data count equal to 4. Let me try to copy and paste it in a OneNote. Okay. So now it looks like a readable format, right? So you're able to see display name. So previously it was not in a structured way to understand so what actually the data has been thrown over there. But now, so we are able to capture so what are the data has been thrown over here. So you can see display name default, so which is shared default, Jayagnesh, and then IT. So these are the 4 folders which you have already created, and it has been came as an output now, correct? So likewise, we can use this orchestrator HTTP request to all the methods. So for creating folders, we can use for getting folders. So for each and everything, we can use this orchestrator HTTP request to perform our actions actually. We'll be having a question. So hey, why I need to know this folder name? So when I go to orchestrator, I can directly go ahead and see that. Why I need actually. So for an example, so if you are going to extract some data in a queue, okay, let's say assume, so we have 4 folders, right? So if you want to extract data only in the JavaGnish folder, so we have to like we have to interpret and we have to traversal in this particular path only. So we have to apply filter for first initially, hey, go to check only in jvigness folder, not other all folders. Okay, so initially like you will be having only 4 folders, but let's assume the production scenario you will be having 1,000 folders. So bot should not check all 1,000 folders, it should see only on the dedicated folder which you want to look. So in those scenarios, you have to understand how to use the folder, how to use the JSON payload. So in this way, it will be very useful to understand to use it. So I hope you will be very curious to understand how the orchestrator HTTP request in the upcoming series. Stay tuned for more interesting videos. Thanks for watching. Happy learning. Have a good day.